man, I feel like with the Star Wars movies, series, Lego, I feel like we've kind of wrapped everything up. But before we go, what is the next set that you will be building for Lego Star Wars?
Oh man, dude. Oh, that's
What is your next that you need? You got to have it. It has to be in the collection.
all right. It's either got to be that MTT that's coming out in August. I know it's not the next one, but I have to have that. Same with the battle pack. I need to get like five of those suckers.
Oh man.
it's got to happen. But the next set is either going to be the UCS Jango Fett Slave One or the play scale. I'm not sure. I'm kind of juggling which one I'm gonna get because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I might get one and then get the other later, but I don't know. One of them's getting bought. Maybe both. Who knows? Maybe both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's kind of that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I feel like eventually I'm going to have both. I'm kind of leaning more towards UCS just because I want that armored Jango Fett, and it's supposed to be heavily detailed from what I'm seeing. Young Boba is always going to look good, and plus, like for a $300 UCS set, it's going to be very detailed. Like the UCS X-wing, amazing, looks great, very detailed, and it's right
Hmm.
around that same price point. So, I mean, I feel like they can't miss with this one. So I agree with you there.
Hmm.
Kind of like a Rebels season 5.5. We kind of like picked up
That's
with
what
the
it felt like.
characters and
Yeah.
live action. Of course, they look real good. Um, Sabine looked great. Shin and Balin, took the show by storm. Live action Thrawn, Ezra, Hera, all these people. Chopper, goddamn,
Hmm.
it keeps going. Uh,
Seriously.
Book of Boba Fett. I know you mentioned you didn't really care for it. Boba just has a goddamn soft spot in my heart, man. And goddamn, it's like top two for me. I loved it, but
I.
I expected too much in it, and
That's what I'd say.
it
Yeah.
kind of it let off a little bit. Um, but yeah, like all those shows in the Mandoverse. What is your favorite out of all of those? And also Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew is in the mix. I don't know if you checked that
Still
out
haven't
yet.
finished that. Haven't finished it yet, but so far it's pretty good.
Nice.
So far it's not bad. I don't know. I heard it was bad, and I wanted to give it my own thoughts before I made my own opinion. Acolyte, that's out of the window. I watched 2 episodes and thought it was dog shit. I'm just gonna be straight up honest. But Skeleton Crew so far, it's not bad. I really do like this look of Star Wars. It's very different. It's very different for sure, but I like it. I like it for sure. And then the Mandoverse you mentioned, man, dude, that's hard. That's really hard. Like favorite show or like just characters? Like what? I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm trying to like.
I mean, what do you think is the I mean, Mandalorian and Grogu's story is obviously the centerpiece and the rest of these characters kind of
Right.
branch out. But if you were to pick one series out of this timeline, which one are you going to roll with? It's kind of a shitty question when now that I
I
think
know.
about it. But I mean, it's something really to think about.
Yeah, no, no kidding. Man, I don't even know. I don't know. It's not that I enjoy the Mandalorian. I just don't. I don't know. I don't put a lot of time into watching it much, and I feel like I should. I feel like I should rewatch that series, but I
Definitely
don't
have to
know.
before the movie comes out next year. I feel like it's
Well,
only right for everyone to go back and rewatch it before you go.
did, yeah, did you see who the big villain was for
Yeah,
that?
Embo.
Yeah, when was the last time we saw him? Clone Wars?
Yeah, that's what it would sound like. And then yeah, Embo, and from what I've heard, Rhoda the Hutt is a gladiator. Um and I
Oh,
feel
I did
like
not hear that.
yeah, it's going to be it's so weird and it's so
Huh.
early. Like we're still over a year out from this coming out. I know I know they wrapped up filming. Um but Jeremy Allen White from Shameless, who plays Lip Gallagher, and he's also the main character in The Bear.
Yeah, I saw
He's
that.
the voice of Rhoda. So what I'm hoping is it's just like Zero the Hutt. He speaks basic. He speaks English. And
Mhm. That's what I'm thinking too.
so I mean, I could not just
That's gonna be funny.
I could not picture Jeremy Allen White just making Huttese noises, and I just don't see that happening. So maybe he speaks basic. So like, kind of branching off of like Lego Star Wars, some little bit of pieces we got in our collections. Who are some of your like favorite characters in all of Star Wars? I mean, we can talk about KOTOR all the way to the sequel trilogy, anywhere. Like who are some of your favorite characters and like what got you into them?
Yeah. So you asked me this, and this is always a very hard question for me because I can never nail it down. Really, there's always like so many that I enjoy. Um, Obviously, we're kind of sticking to like the main franchise, all the movies and stuff. I gotta go with Luke as one of my main kind of favorite like story characters. I think his besides the last three, I think the just him going through everything and being the only one basically fighting for his family and for his father and stuff and all that is really kind of how a Jedi would have been and how a Jedi should be. Um, Obi-Wan is right there with him too. Like, I
Yes.
mean, he I don't think he ever lost a duel. Like, he truly didn't lose to Vader, in my opinion. Like, he knew what everything was going to happen. He knew that Leia and Luke were together and they were safe, and that he fulfilled his duty. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so those two definitely are pretty top for Jedi and kind of just like how their story go. Um, I kind of couldn't really put my finger on anybody else. I'm a big sucker for Anakin. I love playing him on Battlefront 2, dude. He's just the best. He got nerfed a bunch back in the day, and he's still the shit. Um, and then I watch a lot of Stupendous Wave. I don't know if you know who that
Oh
is.
yeah, one yeah.
Yeah,
Stupendous Wave,
yeah.
yeah.
So I watch him a lot of his lore videos, and one of the Darth guys that I think is the most interesting is Darth Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Who's like goes by three different names. He was alive for like 1,500 years,
Yeah.
but yeah, his story is pretty wild. So he's got to be maybe my favorite character and story to like read about in Old Republic.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people always kind of, take the Revan route, which I mean, awesome character again.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it's just like, yeah, Tenebris. And I was kind of like expecting him to be kind of the what we were gonna see in the Acolyte. I thought we were gonna go back that far to where we got to see a little bit of
Uh,
Tenebris there, but I mean we didn't. But I mean that doesn't mean we can't see him, in another project or anything coming up. So I mean, I
yeah,
don't know.
dude, it would be sick to see him. It would be a big shoe to fill because there's a lot of lore about him already. Just I mean, how he's alive for so long, and Revan was a part of that story too. So like they got to pick like what time frame because his whole life would be. I mean, you could make a million movies about his life, over 1,500 years.
Oh yeah.
But that would be sick to see him.
Yeah, for sure. Man, fucking Darth Nihilus, dude, the planet sucker. Like, bro, like
Yeah,
that dude, what?
yeah. So I got a quick little question on him for you. Like, in your opinion, do you think that he is a Sith or do you think he's like something else? Because I have a opinion on this.
So when I first like heard about him, like obviously, I mean, in Star Wars, for the most part, you kind of go off looks. Like, does this character look badass? Do you kind of like vibe overall? Dude, one of the best looking characters in my opinion. I like it, like it kind of looks like a
Oh,
clown face, from a first kind of first look. But then you kind of look at it and you're like, wait, it's kind of like Phantom of the Opera esque, you're kind of like missing the
yeah,
bottom half. But the red, the white, the dark eyes, really cool. But he kind of gave me like some Star Killer vibes, and it's just kind of like it seems like a character that's a little often left field compared to other characters who are just in the main universe. I will say like some of the things with Nihilus, kind of just feeding off of planets and stars and like stuff like that. Like that is just a very wild, description of a character. Like this is what he
yeah,
needs to fuel his essence. And then I'm pretty sure, I'm not too 100%, like I said, I love how this dude looks. I want to learn more
yeah,
about him. But at the same time it's just like it that's what he needed, and it's kind of like his temple, like his overall like figure like goes away, and he's just kind of living off of his essence. So like I don't know
Yeah.
what what to expect with that character going forward. Like, will we ever see him in anything? But that's kind of
Yeah.
where I sit at. But what were you gonna say?
Well, so I just kind of feel like because of I feel like maybe in the beginning, before he became who we know him as, he probably was more of a Sith then. But I feel like he's more of just kind of like an embodiment of the dark side, if that
Which
makes
is cool
sense.
too. Yeah.
Which is pretty dope, but in a sense, like that has taken over who he is in any like sense of the word, because his hunger has just taken him so far that he literally like cannot live on without consuming entire planets.
Yeah,
And
it's
or
like, bro, are you full
it's
yet? Like, come on, bro.
like at the end stage for him would literally would have been total annihilation of everything. Like he was working with the Sith, like he was working with Darth Treya, who's another fucking badass
Awesome. Yeah,
character,
awesome.
dude. Fucking like triple circle lightsabers just with the Force around her all the time. And then also uh another Sith Lord, the one that was like alive for 1,000 years and like held his body together through anger. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I'm not too familiar with the time era, but like I know of the characters. Like I don't know if it's Scion.
Yeah, it's Darth Sion. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay, cool.
It is him. Yeah, it is him. So it is with Darth Treya, Darth Sion, and Darth Nihilus. They're all like working together. But after that, if Nihilus, and everybody wasn't taken down, you know, by the whoever they were, I can't remember exactly who. But Nihilus would have destroyed everything. I mean, he wouldn't have worked with the Sith. He wouldn't have been able to contain his hunger when if they were the only things left around. It just wouldn't have been possible. So I just feel
Yeah.
like he just wasn't a really like a living being or Sith at that point. He was really just like
I don't know, man. I'm
you
hoping my biggest theory of Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress getting their own show is pretty plausible after what we see on May 4th with Tales of the Underworld. So really, really hoping for that. So I mean, it's gonna be it's what a time. What a time for Star Wars right now.
I'm hoping very soon they announce season 2 of the Acolyte. I think that got robbed from us. I think
Yeah.
a storyline of Plagueis, and it just got robbed from us because people didn't respond to it well, which was honestly a little unjust in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was besides that third episode. I'll give everybody that third episode. It just had a lot of stuff that was just it just seemed like out of place for sure or forced into there. But the rest, I mean, it was it was honestly gold.
Yeah.
It was stuff that we've been wanting for as Star Wars fans, like awesome lightsaber duels, awesome Sith character, like old Republic Jedi, like stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't fall flat.
No.
Obviously, there was little things that were questionable here and there, but every Star Wars media has that. Every
Yes.
media has that. I mean, not everything's perfect. Not everybody's gonna like everything. But just for it to be shot down just because of outside stuff, and it's just unfair, really.
Yeah.
Um, the for the actors in the show, for the director, the producers, like they put so much into it, and you can tell they really like cared about the stuff. It wasn't put together hastily. It was good, and I mean, it is what it is. I'm hoping we get season 2. I think it would be definitely loved by a lot of people.
Yes.
So
I agree with you on that. I do have some things with the Acolyte that I think will take place. So, for instance, I mean, a good friend of the show, Andy from the Galactic Core podcast, shout out to him. He has a theory that basically the Acolyte is over. Like that show's done. But there's going to be maybe, in his opinion, it's something called The Apprentice, and this is going to take place with Plagueis and Chimere going off and doing their deeds. Maybe and I believe that the um, sequel to that will be The Apprentice, or will be The Master, and this is going to be basically showing Palpatine coming in, and here comes Plagueis showing everything to Palpatine, and of course that dynamic duo that they become, working behind the scenes. I think that is a really, really good approach, a good idea. Okay, so yeah, the Acolyte's over, right? So now they go the separate route. So me personally, I believe that because if you look at Star Wars Celebration, we didn't see Amanda Stenberg, we didn't see Daphne Keene, we didn't see Lee Jung Jae, we didn't see any of them.
Hmm.
We saw Manny Jacinto, and I feel like with with the character that he is, obviously, and I feel like arguably he is the highlight of the Acolyte, and in my opinion, very much so. I think he's the absolute best thing um in live action Star Wars, dark side wise. I will say that. I mean, I
Hmm.
think the helmet is menacing. I can't wait to buy it this summer when it comes out from Black Series. But yeah, Manny Jacinto was at Star Wars Celebration, and like, why? He's
Yeah.
going to cons. I get that, but at the same time, why did he get his own panel? Maybe I'm searching too far. Maybe I'm,
And then why
reaching.
is Black Series making a helmet?
And why
You
is
think
Black
they would
Series
make
making a
something
helmet?
for a canceled show?
Yeah, it's
Or
very,
at least
very
something
weird.
we're never going to see again. I heard M&R talking about it recently. He was saying it in like reference to like Lego sets. Like a lot of times Lego will just like get like a little hint from Star Wars, be like, hey, you might want to make some sets with Cassian Andor because we might have something in the pipeline. But
Mm,
and it could be the same thing with like Hasbro. Like, hey, maybe put this out, maybe do something with this because it and it might have something that we're lining up with or something like that. I mean, I really don't see why they would make a helmet for something, a show that wasn't received very well,
yeah,
and for a, a character we might never see again unless like or Star Wars was like or Disney was like, hey, this is something we might be doing, so it might be a good idea to do this.
right.
So I don't see why they would do it for no reason. So there has to be something behind it.
Yeah, I was very curious because I'm watching The Last of Us. Are you watching Last of Us?
Yeah, I'm not all the way caught up with season 2 yet. I've seen probably the first 3 episodes, but I will continue watching it over summer.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I was very like, okay, so like I'm not ready to see like Pedro Pascal die, and I think
Yeah,
like it's gonna happen for Din Djarin eventually too, because Grogu's gonna live to 900 years old.
yeah.
Din Djarin's not. Um, that's just not how humans work. But yeah, so I was like, I gotta see, how he died in Game of Thrones, because like a buddy at work was telling me, he's like, check that out, because we were
Yeah.
talking about some like deaths in movies and stuff like that, and he's like, go check that one out, and I was like, oh no, that's
Uh,
that's pretty
that it was a gruesome death for sure. But it was a badass death to say the least. So definitely, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Um, but no, talking about him, dude, I never even considered him dying off in The Mandalorian. So people are gonna cry when that happens. I feel like a lot of people are attached to Mando and Grogu and that whole universe that they've built. So I feel like people are definitely gonna cry. I feel I might tear up if it ever happens on screen. I feel like my wife would definitely cry
yeah.
her eyes out if that were to happen. But who knows? Hopefully, he has a good ending. Hopefully, I don't know what the rumors are, but hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I haven't heard any rumors. I feel you though on the, shedding a tear a little bit, because I feel like Mandalorian brought me back to Star Wars, because there's kind of like those years of a void where there's just like nothing that really came out other than, the sequels came out, we're getting a movie once every 2 years, just came off of Rogue One as well. Stuff like that, but it was more of like the series that we've been used to the last 5 years. We're getting new animated series, new live action series, and stuff like that. But yeah, Mando brought me back. So I mean, how many close calls has Din Djarin had? You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just it wouldn't surprise me maybe in the Dave Filoni film, like the end game of the Mandoverse, maybe he sacrifices himself to get Grogu or Ahsoka or Bo-Katan out of a situation. I have heard theories though, like this is where Boba Fett goes like this time, and it's like no, don't do that either,
Yeah.
because that would hurt.
Now that would definitely hurt. Like, it, thinking about it now, it's definitely a show that I feel like I got way too attached to. And same thing, for not having any Star Wars content for a couple years, and then finally getting that show. I believe, was it during the pandemic that we got the show,
Mando
or
came out right before. It was
right
like
before?
November, I think.
Yeah, and we were getting about an episode a week, and I remember it was like every Wednesday night, if I'm not wrong. So it was like every
Yes.
Wednesday night, new episode of Mando, and like going through that period, I don't think I started watching it when it first came out, but definitely if it was like November, right before the pandemic, then for sure, once the pandemic hit and I had nothing else to do, I was watching it, and yeah, no, I definitely got attached to it, and so seeing it come to an end next year is gonna be bittersweet.
Yeah.
But well, we'll see what else Dave Filoni and them are going to be cooking because I've heard a lot of good stuff that might be coming out in the near future. I'm not too, haven't been looking at the news too much, so I'm not as well informed as perhaps you are, but I'm definitely excited for where Star Wars is going. From where it was at, you know, back in 2016 when we barely got Rogue One after so many years of not having like a good movie, you know.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan.
I mean, I think that there's something to pull good out of everything. Like, before we went live, we were talking about the Acolyte, not my thing, of course. I disagree with some of the premises of the storyline and, how things flesh out and that. But I mean, we got great lightsaber fights. Chimere's a great Sith Lord. I'd love to see him fleshed out. That was a
Mm-hmm.
great character. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to find, positives and everything. And
Yeah.
you see a lot of negativity in this community nowadays, I feel.
Dude, the worst is like saying you like something and then some like neckbeard dude is in the comments and like, "Oh, you're a shill. They must be paying you." And it's like, "Bro, I'll turn my pockets inside out right now. I got nothing. I just like this shit.
Yeah,
That's crazy,
I I wish they were paying me to say it,
Yeah.
you know?
I would make a whole
Yeah.
video about me saying, this shit is amazing. I mean, at the same time, that's what we do as fans is we watch it and we, digest it and let it marinate and then you form an opinion. Social media sucks, dude. It just really does. I just feel like no one has their own opinion these days. Like, I
Mm.
mean, I don't know, dude. It's just people need to be off
Yeah.
the internet, but the internet's awesome at the same time. So
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for, easy access to anything, any opinion you want to have. You can go and find it and get validated in your thoughts on the internet. So
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people care a lot more maybe than they normally would, or they're given they're given, confirmation that maybe what they're thinking's right, and and then you do have the people on both sides of the issue that are cranking out content and fueling the fire. So
oh yeah,
when at the end of the day we got a lot to look forward to. We got lots of content coming out soon. We got lots of toy drops, merch for us. We got all the cool clothing collabs and all that cool stuff, and we got a lot to be grateful for as a fandom.
exactly. That's what helps too. Is I mean these toys, man, they're awesome. And it helps, and it
Yeah.
it it makes you relive these movie moments to a T. I mean, like you said, we can display them or make mocks and put them how we've seen it visually, and we're creating new things. Like especially with you, like you do like the Lego photography. So you're literally that's all you're doing is making an image. You're making a setting and letting others
Yeah.
see. your vision, which is really cool. That's why I love what you guys do. I mean, I take pictures of me with my stuff because I'm like, I
Mhm.
think this shit's cool. Like, I think it's cool that I can, like some of my favorite people that I follow, like I'm a Broncos fan. I love seeing like what the players are posting. I'm a Nuggets fan. I love seeing them, I love seeing Aaron Gordon pose on the hood of his car, just chilling,
Yeah.
just kind of it's like a subtle flex, but not flexing too hard. So I like to like twist that, but in my own way with all my Star Wars shit. Cause I think it's cool. Like, like people don't have to like think it's cool, but I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, I like to post that stuff, but it's different from what you do on your channel. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, man, I like creating it. It is fun, to be able to have my own creative voice and, snapshots of what I feel looks cool, what I want to share with people. You know what I mean? I'd use my page definitely too as like my own little personal playlist. One of my favorite parts of creating posts and sharing things with people is pairing music with the photos because
Yes.
I'm a huge music guy.
Yep. Same.
So I love pairing music with them. If you ever go look at my posts, a lot of them, if you listen to the lyrics, they might have something to do with the post. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and like that part's a lot of fun with it. But I've been getting big into, the editing side of things and like spending a bit more time on the photos. It's so funny. I started that Instagram as a advert avenue for advertisement because I was selling figs on Whatnot, and I stopped selling on Whatnot. It is pretty time consuming.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of cool people. I've made a lot of great friends doing it, but it was time consuming. But I kept on with the Instagram, and it's a great community over there. I mean, you see it, man. There's just
Yeah.
tons of talent, tons of awesome people, and it's motivated me to keep pumping out content. And also too, like you said, you've been a Star Wars fan your whole life, and especially, we like to call them collections and we like to act like they're something they're not. But like you said, at the end of the day, they are toys, right? And, you know, taking pictures, I feel like you do kind of tap into that little kid a little bit, that's sitting there in their room playing with Legos. It's like now, as an adult, I have the ability, like that's what I saw as a little kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's looking down on it floor level on my stomach, making them have a battle. Like that's what's going on in my brain.
Yeah.
So now that I get to, post those pictures, not only for me, but for everybody else, and, someone else might see something that strikes a little bit of a nostalgia in them, or, you know what I mean? Or, makes their day, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it a lot though. It's been a lot of fun. And I mean, it's, uh, it's a good excuse to keep collecting too, because I
Exactly.
always need new content, you know?
The
So
the
always picking up fun stuff.
yeah. That's the best thing about, sliding to the store and being like, "Man, what's next?" And just looking.
Hmm.
You already know what's there, but you're still looking anyways. I mean, even today, like I was picking out some of the like the giveaway things that we're gonna be doing, and I'm just like, dude, like this shit's cool, man. Like I would have never thought, like last year that I'd be like out not shopping for me, or like
Yeah.
my wife or my like my homies, like getting them like Christmas stuff, like that's when you go shopping for others. But it's
Yeah.
just cool to kind of like tap out of that and just you know, look at it. It's kind of like looking at it third person. You're looking at what's there, but you're like, what would like the genuine like what would this group of the people who like want to follow me, what would they like? Obviously you
Sure.
kind of have to pick from your own content what's liked the most, what's not liked, and then you just kind of go down that road, and it's a really neat thing, man.